Welcome. Today's topic is Firebase Machine Learning Kit, and the use case is recognize text in image. So Firebase ML Kit is a mobile SDK and that exposes the Google machine learning expertise as the APIs to Android and iOS apps. And today we are going to discuss about the use case recognize text in image and on Android. So there is two models, and there is it exposes the APIs for two models, and that is the on-device model and cloud-based model. And this on-device model that downloads on our mobile device, and so it is for recognize the text in image. And so cloud based model API, and that is for it has got more features, and so it can reads the text in documents also. So let's see that recognize text in image using the model on device model. So this is the image, and this is the identification document. So when user uploads this document and then extract the data, so that will be the profile data. And so we don't need to enter the data for the profile data. So that is it extract the surname, given name, and usage, category or country of the birth, and date of birth, and sex, other, that is gender. So it extracts the data, so that simplifies the process. And the Google API is developed the model for recognize the text in this image. So this is the image to read in the text, and so that image I stored in that Firebase cloud storage. So my app will get this image from this storage, and that image is passed to that API is exposed by the ML kit, Firebase ML kit, and that will process and gives the extracted text. So that is I need to pass this bitmap to this vision image. So I need to pass that image to the text to be extracted from the image, that image bitmap. I need to pass this to we need to create the object of Firebase vision image from that bitmap, and then so that Firebase vision text recognizer, and to that text recognizer I pass this image to process, and this process and gives the recognized text, and that text in the blocks. So that is this text is, so entire text is divided into the number of the blocks, and then each block can have a different language. In this case only one language, that is English. So each it extract in terms of the block, and for example this surname and space is one block, and that decides that how many blocks it have that, and each block will have the lines of text. So it returns that Firebase vision text, and from that we can get that blocks in image, and then we can get the text lines in each block by iterating through that blocks. So I got that. So each block there is a lines in the block, and then I'm getting that. So I'm storing it is as a map, and the key value pairs, and the key is that here the key is surname, given name, and the UCIS number, and category, and country of birth, and date of birth, and values are the respective values. So I get that extracted data, and then I just use some logic to store it in a map. And this is I got the data. So I'm just so this is just extracted, and user not entered this, and it is extracted from that image, and then I'm formatting and displaying on the screen, and so that is the data. So let's see. So we need to include that in that library, ML Vision library, in this Gradle, and in manifesto file, and we need to keep that dependency here to on device model to we need to include in the metadata of that on device model, so it downloads on that. Let's see that first is I have a spinner which gets all images for that KYC documents of that one user, and that displays on the spinner when I select it, and then that displays that image on the screen, and it extract the data from that. And then when you view profile, that model and that map which I generated, which I created, the map which stores the key as a key value pairs, and then that is passed to this fragment view profile, and that is displayed on the screen. And this is the fragment, and then there is a Firebase Cloud API, and in that API passing that bitmap, and then it sets the result data on this map text line image. So I pass this to that recognize text class, and which is the method we got process the image. I am processing this bitmap. There is adapter for spinner, and then the set is adapter, and that adapter in data binding I am defined as a variable here, and then set that as adapter there. So, and next is then there is a reference for that view profile button, and then spinner reference. So first I need to get that images under that KYC documents of that user, and I read it from the cloud storage. So I'll get that and list all, and I get the reference to that folder UID, and then list all, and then it gives the list of that images, and that I stored in that image list, array list. And so when users selected that spinner from the So it downloads from that image from the cloud, and then we got the list of documents. When user selected from that spinner, it downloads that image from the cloud, and that is reference I am giving that, and then I am adding this success listener and get bytes to download, and so I am adding that success listener, and then I got that bitmap, and it converts that bytes into bitmap and passing this to this API, recognize text API, and this API is as explained, and then it will be processed. So when user clicks on that view profile, and this loads that fragment, so, and that fragments I need to pass that that we loaded that map, and that map has to pass to this fragment, and that is lines in image. So when I finish that extracting all the lines, here when I finished extracting all the lines and then setting on that live data, the value on live data, and it so add observers to that live data, that observer it delivers to that observer, and I'll add that observer to live data, and that pass this observer to that API, and then so that it once it extracted, it sets the data on that observer, so that it emits to that all subscribers, and so you got the data, and then I keep this, and then I refresh this map. So we got that data in these lines of in linked hash map, and that map I am passing this to the model which is passed to the fragment, and then I pass the fragment, and then this fragment will be the loaded. Now this is the model, view profile model, and this is implemented by parcel, but because the data is exchanged between the fragments, and the fragment is view profile. So this is the layout for that, and then the variable is that view profile model. From that model I am binding the data on that screen, and so this is the way I'm binding that and getting that data from that map using that key and surname. I get the value for surname, and for given name, so I'm binding the data to that. So that I inflated using the data binding library or data binding utilities, and then that is passed to the activity, and returning that view get root, and then I set the profile so that it binds to that data. I'm just displaying this, what is the key and values, and that is displayed on that. So it is simple, and that is that the ML machine learning and recognize the text in image we don't need to enter that data it avoids, and it that process of entering the data user data on the screen, and just that process is eliminated. You just extract data and displays. So this is all about that ML kit and the use case recognize text in image.